Watching the wind toss dead leaves and torn bits of styrofoam around, I'm rubbing the silver off my lion skull ring from inside the soothing warmth of the caddy. I was waiting for a multiple of 5 to roll around on the glowing dashboard clock before heading into Cooper's, alone. A part of me died when a scream mask that looked like a swirling black and white serpent smacked the windshield, sending me into a hyperventilation I've not yet recovered from. Aware of how late I am, with sweat bleeding through the armpits of my beige western shirt, suddenly I'm left alone and drowning in a sinking ship of despair. And I was just about to go in, too. A brief pep talk and a 500 milligram tab of azapine later, and I'm stepping out into the darkness. Holding a guitar case in each hand, I stand underneath the eternal black sky. After gathering a breath, I roll my shoulders back and raise my head to the darkness. There, shining in the night like the Star of Bethlehem, I find my salvation. Written across the off-white glow of the marquee, seeing our name in lights gives me the strength to walk through the fire. The thick maroon stage curtain feels soft in my hands like Timbavati lion's fur, offering me the emotional security of a time-released oxycontin. From behind it, I spot Olivia balancing a tray of fruity potions, zigzagging in and out of the filled tables. Watching her walk evenly through this crowd of polished vampires, always looking straight ahead, she expertly hides her disdain for Megumi's upscale okanimochi guests. With wild, carefully waxed hairdos, these cats from Japan are a metrosexual pride of stalking lions, and they're on the prowl. Val and the girls have been pushed back to the standing tables by the bar, but just knowing that she's here feels like a mild Vicodin buzz, as the neo-yuppies with their gold Rolexes handcuffed to their wrists continue filling up the tables up front. I was looking to see if Barnes and the rest of the boys were with them, but all I can make out are the stoic red pillars on either side of the bar. Standing boldly and defiant against the gloss from the mahogany bar top, they're gleaming like a Caribbean Coke mirror. I send one last profanity-ridden text to Fuki and the merry dumbasses when Megumi approaches. Her tight Rocky Horror Picture Show t-shirt is stretched so thin I can read the label on her black Knix bra, but her folded arms are saying, "Not now." Though her tone is warm at first, when she sees the pranksters aren't here, her gaze grows cold in a way that subtly introduces the possibility of violence. I force the broadest, most genuine grin I'm able and try to deflect. Megumi, this place looks fantastic. They're not coming. She tries to ask in the form of a question, but it comes out as a cruel statement of fact, one she's making decisions based off of. Not unprepared for this, Megumi is being gracious by not being overly dramatic. She doesn't wait for me to stammer my way through an excuse before following up with another question I'm not ready for. Thankfully, I know this one. I'm able to look her dead in the eye and with a straight face, tell her that I was just talking with a representative from the Lindenwood football team about doing security earlier today. The look she gives me as she turns to walk away tells me the Japanese straw doll with my likeness will remain unpenetrated. For now, anyway. Ben Burney and his orchestra have the place swinging from the state-of-the-art sound system. The sangria-colored walls gleam like they may have a pulse, and the smoky Irish paintings framed in Corinthian gold have a soothing effect that begs one to think twice before throwing a pint glass across the room. After washing another pill down with a glass of Grey Goose vodka, I can procrastinate no longer. Megs gives me one of her cheeky grins and says something in Japanese which sounds like a swear. I don't need a translator to feel the depth of that final cut, and it will take an IV-filled morphine drip to ease this pain. Just as I'm tightening the peg on my last high E string, I receive a buzzing message from Dicky that reads, "Schultz, where the hell are you?" Texting as many F words as I can type into a 30-second rant, Megumi walks out onto the stage just as I'm hitting send. The stool may be wobbly, or it could just be me, but the heat from the stage light is turning my silver skull ring into a burning cattle prod. I can't tell whether she's leaning into it for the audience's sake, or if it's just a nervous tick, but as Megumi tells the eager crowd to give it up for St. Louis's most dangerous band, I can make out the slightest hint of her native accent shining through, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't adorable. The dark faces in the crowd look like one formless mass of silhouettes, waiting to either be tamed or eat me alive. Past the blinding glare, I can make out Val sitting with Blair behind what appears to be a table of gentlemen with decorative Asian tattoos peeking from the sleeves of their Dormel Vanquish blazers and faded band t-shirt combination. The young women comforting them are laughing gaily while smoking long cigarettes from Oriental bamboo cigarette holders. In their sequenced Charleston one-pieces, their diamond-studded knickers hardly twist at all at the sight of the man holding a purple velvet leash with a full-grown Siberian tiger at the end. His top hat looks like a bad disguise, and I'm skeptical how sturdy the thin velvet leash he's holding is. From behind oversized mirrored sunglasses, the crowd appears distant and unmoved, like they're locked behind a shallow vault of narcissism that could prove to be a tough safe to crack. I clear my throat and taste the bitter pill seep down my esophagus, slowly at first, then gushing like a rapid. I take another deep drink from the pint glass of straight vodka until it stings, and set it on the empty stool next to me. As if I were extending a hand, humbly inviting the audience to dance, I stammer, good evening, into the microphone. As the stares of ambivalence begin to soften, I light a Marlboro Red. I can't take my eyes off the white tiger pacing the floor as the words, "Here we go," echo through the bar. I decide to play it safe, strumming the intro to Wonderwall, a classic so simple that I can pull it off even in the absence of the band. With no real climax to speak of, I can keep it going as long as need be, though my hands are trembling and I'm still unable to see Val's face through the dark crowd. Just knowing that she's here gives me the feeling that I'm being swallowed by a warm honeypot. When I tell the good folks there that I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now, I think they're buying it. A girl wearing a Belvedere hat with narrow eyes and a low-cut dress believes me, and I let her know, love, the feeling's mutual. The air in the room lightens a few shades as a fire is ignited in her awakening eyes. She blinks and the flame reaches out to the vulnerable eye of the gentleman with the monocle as he thinks through what it means. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt for the first time. Before I get to the chorus, the flicker of wonder illuminates every eye in the moody bar room like a menorah. The prowling shoulders of the albino tiger weaves in between the stool's long legs before she settles down with her tail stroking the hardwood floor. I repeat the chorus 3 or 4 times, then with a little riff and a tickle of the strings, I finish to a polite yet generous applause. Though I can't say with any measurable degree of certainty, nothing about this feels like a hallucination. It may be because I can feel the fire burning behind their eyes, but their reaction doesn't take me completely by surprise. It could just be all the benzos coursing through my veins, but there seems to be a tangible vibe in the air, like a collective curiosity, needing to see how far we can all tighten this string before it snaps. Megumi sets another pint glass of Grey Goose down on the lonely stool next to me and flashes me a smile that tells me it's probably not poisoned. After the second time I announce my appreciation into the microphone, I feel the air surrounding our fragile bubble of delirium begin to change. Narrowing my eyes, I'm watching as the tiger stands and narrows her predatory glare as well. Her whiskers grow like an erection, and when she stretches her mouth back in a tense yawn, reminding the man in the top hat that she is only as tame as she chooses to be. As a deep growl shakes my soul to its core, a small mob of unruly Philistines can be heard marching in. Although I could not make out their faces, I was relieved the bass of their voices was a familiar barbarism. It's then that Mort appears, holding 2 pitchers of draft beer in the air like they were decapitated heads, shouting at me like a thief. "Merry Pranksters, boys! Right now!" He's wearing a black Slayer t-shirt and muddy work boots, the same as the rest of the heathens. Kicking an empty chair who dared cross his path, Ryan Barnes notices the great feline and stares her down with a convincing snarl until her ears fall submissively back on her white head. Debating whether to laugh or cry, I watch as Fuki approaches Megumi at the bar, pretending to be confused by her outrage. He's wearing a lime-colored polo shirt with his collar popped proudly, as if it never went out of fashion, under a Louis Vuitton blazer. I'm wondering what he got all dressed up for, then what on earth he could possibly be saying to her right now. All of a sudden, I feel the heat from 1,000 flaming eyeballs gawking at me like they're watching a burning bush. Turning to see what has the East Egg crowd clutching their pearls, there stands Dicky with both of his hands held out majestically. He's not bowing, he's not even smiling. He's simply standing there at the foot of the stage with his hair slicked back evenly, demanding obedience and receiving every bit of it. It's then that a hot mic catches me saying, "You